They prepared to defend their holy city with everything they had. In the middle of the night, Saladin met his secretary Biha al-Din, who gave him some advice.
Your Highness is weighed down with anxiety. Earthly means are useless. You can only turn to God Almighty. Perhaps God will take pity on you and answer your petition.
Saladin and the whole of Jerusalem braced themselves for Richard's onslaught. But it did not come. The Crusader camp was deserted. On the verge of achieving his goal, once again Richard had ordered his men back to the coast. To Saladin, it looked like Richard had given up on his crusade.
For the medieval Muslim, the retreat of Richard the second time from Jerusalem would have been regarded as a sign of God's benevolence towards them. They would not have seen it in personal terms. Richard is chickening out. This was God's favor towards them returning.
Richard had retreated to Acre. Now Saladin seized the initiative and descended on Jaffa. The port was quickly overrun. Like his conquest of Jerusalem, Saladin tried to stop the looting and sacking of the city. But his troops had begun to resent his generosity to the Christians, and many ignored his command. Worse news was yet to come for Saladin. Richard may have forsaken Jerusalem, but when he heard Jaffa was threatened, he raced with only a handful of men to save the port. Richard mowed down everyone who dared challenge him. Saladin commanded his men to keep fighting, but his orders carried no weight.
His top-ranking officer said to him, let your bastards who prevented us from looting go and fight him.
Saladin had no response to the insubordination. Despite being massively outnumbered, Richard won the Battle of Jaffa.
It's in that moment, I think, that you see Richard's reputation as a legendary warrior working even in his own lifetime, working on the minds of his enemies, people against whom he's been fighting for the last 15 months. The great encounter at Jaffa becomes a miracle sent by God to allow our great Christian hero, Richard, to hold on to at least one of the successes of the Crusade.
With Richard sick from exhaustion, neither man could continue. A face-saving truce was all that was left.